Hey guys, we're going to jump around a little bit in this video and look at a few things because there are some prices that are changing on certain items I want to talk about a little bit, so I'll try and give you some value there. And then I just kind of want to have a general discussion on maybe a couple things that I'm seeing people and new investors in the hobby do wrong, and people are starting to slack in a few areas, myself probably included. So we'll get all into that. First thing, Prismatic Evolutions ETBs. I made a video like 4 or 5 days ago saying that these were going to bottom out and start to rebound. And as you can already see, we hit that bottom around the low 100s on the first or maybe the last day of January. And most recent sales from today are back in that 115 range. You obviously do have a couple around that 100 price point as well, but most of them are probably closer to $110. You had a lot there: 108, 106, 110, 118, 108, 108, 108. So not a lot down here, 115. It probably averages out around 110 if we're being generous and average everything. So we've already seen a 10% increase over the past 5 days. The sales volume is slowing down. You had days in the middle of January. One of these days there was around, yeah, there you go, 1,361 items sold. The sales volume is a lot lower now, but I think that's fine. People dumped their stock the past couple weeks, and I think we are going to continue to see this rebound. That said, at the same time, a lot of the evolutions are starting to lose some value. For example, the Umbreon over the past couple days has not sold over $1,500 since the second, 1,400 under 1,400 for everything else. So, yeah, that's definitely something interesting. Same thing with the Sylveon. Most recent sales are actually in that 420, 425 range, and it hasn't sold for the past couple days either. The Espeon, a little bit different story. You do have some sales now over $400. Even had one on January 31st at 550, but most recent ones from yesterday and today 400 or 440 and $400. So the Espeon holding strong. Leafeon is falling off a little bit. Most recent sales 290, 330, and that's from February 1st. You did have one at 450, one at 418. So again, still a little bit all over the place, but it does seem like it's slowly coming down. The Glaceon probably holding strong as well, around that $300 price point. I think out the gate, this one might have been a bit undervalued. Now we're going to see it kind of find its, normalized range where it probably should have been out the gate. 340, 305, 317, again from the past couple of days as well. And then the Master Balls, for a lot of them, are starting to lose value. Even the Umbreon, which is now selling in that 270 range, most recent sales from the second and the fourth. And I don't know. I don't think this is super surprising. The Master Balls to me, even the Umbreon or like the Sylveon, the Espeon, I think a lot of these are going to continue to lose value. Just because it's a regular holo with a Master Ball on it, right? To me, that's not as interesting as something like a full art, SIR, IR, alternate art, whatever you want to call them, right? To me, those cards are much more interesting. I understand why people want to collect those. But if you are going for a master set, or just because they are super rare, they will have some value. But it's not surprising to me that a lot of these are losing their value. And then the final thing about Prismatic I want to touch on is in a couple days, February 7th, we are getting the release of the surprise boxes. So, be on the lookout for those in your local stores. And maybe the Pokemon Center online is going to restock them on the 7th. Who knows? Again, like we have zero clue what's going on with TPC, but yeah, there you go. That's coming out on the 7th now. Next thing, Shrouded Fable. We're seeing these ETBs increase in price. They're up 50% almost over the past 3 months, sitting around that $45, $46 price point. And again, recent sales from today, $50 and one for 40. So that's a nice average around 45. You do have a few lower sales still, but it's moving up. And some of the top cards obviously are still crushing it, but they are starting to see a bit of a pullback. So the Persian was up to around 80, now selling around $70. And if you look at most recent sales, $65 near mint, $64 near mint from yesterday and today. Same thing with the Houndoom. This was over $50 up to around 55, and it's now selling $49, 48, 48. So we are seeing a bit of a pullback. Now, one thing that I kind of want to just have a little discussion on in this video, because I do see people commenting on my videos and saying that Shrouded Fable is underrated. And it's easy to fall into this trap, guys. I'm just gonna say that I fully disagree with that statement. Shrouded Fable is still dog shit in my opinion. It's a really bad set. Obviously, it has some decent IR cards like the Persian, the Duskull. the Houndoom. But again, when we look at a set in terms of investability, you need to have a strong chase card. There is no strong chase card in the set. You can argue that the Persian is a chase card, guys. Persian's never been a chase, okay? It's a great artwork. It's a solid depth card, don't get me wrong, but it's nothing to get excited about. Even when you look at a set like Astral Radiance, right? The Machamp is $140, 150, maybe even higher at this point. That's still not a great chase card. That's why a lot of people didn't want to invest in something like Astral Radiance compared to, I don't know, Silver Tempest or Brilliant Stars. Like the Lugia and the Charizard are just better chases overall. But that's a set that has a lot of great mid-tier depth, even higher mid-tier depth, right? You have the Starmie in there, the Garchomp, etc. But the set is just not that strong. And, Shrouded Fable is a lot worse than that. Sure, you have the Duskull, you have the Dusknoir, the other evolutions in here somewhere, Dusclops. You have the Persian. The Pheasantipede is a playable card. Same thing with Earthen Vessel, I believe. Then you have Horsey and a couple other ones. So, the set's not terrible in depth, but it's just not a good set, guys. So don't fall into this trap that this is a undervalued set or it's underrated. It's still the worst set in Scarlet and Violet era. Maybe you could make an argument it's better than base set or something like that, but it's just really not that good. And again, these are up 50% over the past 3 months, guys. What is not up over the past 3 months, right? If you look at most booster boxes, even Sword and Shield stuff, same price movements for most of these, right? And these are much more expensive. Fusion Strike's up 100%. So the best performing sets over the past 3 months have absolutely crushed Shrouded Fable. People were just buying this up because they saw it as an opportunity. And I don't blame people for buying this, but again, don't go too heavy into a set like this just because it's really not that good. I've had people telling me, maybe you should buy Pokemon Center PCTBs of Shrouded Fable, or should I buy some of these, right? And I don't think it's worth doing. In my opinion, 6 months ago, I didn't think it was worth buying, and I'm trying to buy like all specialty sets, the PCTBs for those. But yes, it's just so bad, guys. I would rather just buy the remaining Sword and Shield products on the Pokemon Center, like the Cyrus collections, the Brilliant Stars build and battle kits. I mean, Brilliant Stars is a legit set. It's proven that it's going to be one for the future. Probably not the best, like a Fusion Strike or Evolving Skies, but it's going to be solid. People like the Charizard, the Umbreons and Sylveons Trainer Gallery cards are now taking off as well. So those are going to have some value in the future, and I think that's why going into something like Brilliant Stars, which is already out of print, we're not going to see a reprint on it compared to something like Shrouded Fable, which could in theory get a reprint, probably won't just because of how bad of a set it is, but it's still going to be around for a couple of years. You're going to be able to find it on store shelves. Whereas Brilliant Stars, probably by the end of this year, you're never going to see it in retail ever again, or it's going to be very rare. So that's just my opinion, guys. Don't fall for the FOMO, and just think logically about things, right? If a set on paper doesn't look that good, if there's no top chase card, you look at the top 3, top 5, top 10 values of cards, and it's just really not that great. And it's a newer set still, so a lot of these cards are playable and elevated because of that reason. It's probably not going to do well long term, right? So that's just the one thing I wanted to get out in this video. And then kind of just to end on this, and I already kind of alluded to it. A lot of these Sword and Shield boxes are actually seeing a decent pullback, and I've had people message me over the past couple weeks as well that they're talking about maybe buying Sword and Shield, and I'm not personally buying any more Sword and Shield at these prices. I'm happy with the positions that I have. But if you don't have any Sword and Shield and you want to get a couple boxes, for example, Fusion Strike, most recent sales are in that 450, 460 range. You have a couple down here at 440. I don't think that this box is ever going to be cheaper than this. I really don't. I think this, 10, 15% pullback we're seeing where people are taking profits, I think we're probably going to see another bump eventually on this. And if you don't have any and you really want to get a box, I would probably consider getting one now instead of waiting 3 to 6 months and potentially seeing those prices go back up. Same thing with Brilliant Stars. Let's see, the filter. I don't know why TCG Player is continuing to do this to me, but some sales in that 270 range. Like I'm sure you could probably find a local sale, maybe even at 250, guys, like 250, 260. Lost Origin, same thing. This saw a really big pullback from over 400 into the mid 350s. You even have sales down here at 335, 340. So if you can find some of these boxes locally in that, 330, 320 range, maybe even a bit cheaper, who knows? Like it might be time for you to consider buying them, especially if you don't have a position. Again, I'm not buying anymore, so I'm not trying to pump this or say that you should go buy Sword and Shield right now. But if you don't have any and you do want to get some exposure, I can't imagine these going any lower because if they do, like for example, if Lost Origin dropped another 10%, was under $300, I think people would start buying them back up rather quickly, even the larger investors. So this may be a good time to get in on some of these. But that's all I wanted to talk about in this video. Prismatic, it's starting to rebound the ETBs. A lot of the singles are starting to go down a little bit. The surprise box is coming out February 7th. Shrouded Fable's overrated. Stop trying to, gaslight yourself into buying more of it. And then, there's a couple Sword and Shield boxes or products left on the Pokemon Center. Guys, this front page, like this is literally what you have left. You have battle styles. You have the Brilliant Stars build and battles and the build and battle. Yeah, the stadiums and the kits. You have the Cyrus Premium Tournament Collection, the Clara one. You have this Morpeko, Fusion Strike, and Brilliant Stars box, and then a few Astral Radiant things. That's really all you have left for Sword and Shield on the Pokemon Center US/Canada. So if you guys are thinking about getting some product, that's really all that's left. So thank you guys so much for watching the video. Stay safe wherever you are in the world, and I'll catch you in the next one.